Mm. Mm-mm. It's the IU Show. It's the IU Show. Y'all. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Oh, hold on. Let me grab my coffee real quick. Alright, so I want to let y'all know about something. Coming up soon, I'm going to have a very cool new intro to the show. And it's going to be a voice from one of our favorite collaborators here. And I'll leave it up to y'all to guess who it is. Right now it is 7:52 a.m. I woke up this morning at 5:30, as I've been doing for a while now. Monday through Friday, wake up at 5:30. Saturday, Sunday, do my own thing. And yesterday, when I woke up at 5:30, man, I was in the zone. I woke up, prayer time was super productive. Because I always do an hour of prayer after waking up, because that's the best way to start the day. You got to center yourself, essentially get yourself to a place of quiet and focus before you start the day, so that you're not just wasting energy, right? Or as Paul wrote in the New Testament, you want to wake up. We didn't write you want to wake up, but it's a paraphrase. You want to wake up, get to work, and be busy at work, not a busybody. Be quiet at work. Just do your stuff. So, that's the headspace I was trying to get into. But my mind kept wandering. I kept thinking about work. I kept thinking about the gallery I'm trying to start, which is taking forever. And it is a huge project, so I understand, it makes sense, it's taking forever. But so I'll be thinking about that. And then I was just thinking about other things, like making a podcast, making my YouTube, whatever. And I'm like, excuse me, I'd like to focus, I want to get to a place in the day, like yesterday, where I was super focused, just killing it. Woke up, went bam, 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 and my day was begun. But I realized that not every day will we have the same focus or full focus that we desire to have. You know what I mean? Every single day we have a different rhythm, and that's because every day is unique. And also, I want to say, even as I'm saying these things and I'm just talking my mind out, I usually have some sort of focused thing that I'm talking about on the podcast. Well, today I don't have a focused thing up front, and I don't have something specific that I want to talk about with you guys. And I think that is for the best, because I want to just speak my mind and let it roam, and let you guys roam with me, and we'll just see where we end up. But as I say that, there's anxiety in it. There's anxiety in, oh, I don't have a plan, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, I don't know where I'm going to go, and I'm afraid. I feel afraid that you guys will get bored, that I'm not going to be entertaining enough, that I'm not going to be helpful, whatnot. And that makes me feel insecure, and then it makes it harder to speak. I think it's a very strange thing, but a very good secret is that now that I've said those things, I guarantee you that I'm going to be able to be a bit more talkative, be a bit looser, and I'm sure we'll come to some sort of productive speech. There's a certain thing about saying the uncomfortable thing that's going through your mind, just speaking your mind, putting it out, that allows a sort of pressure release. Like if you're keeping something in your head all the time, like, about insecurity or a fear, maybe something you are afraid to say about yourself. Like me in the past, I've been afraid of not like being cool enough, not having enough game or something like that. And then when I'm hanging out with a girl, like I'll be very insecure. Even though I'm putting up a front of confidence, deep inside of me, it's like, oh, I hope I'm carrying the conversation. Oh, I hope I look cool right now and whatnot. Well, guess what? If I actually just say, hey, I know this is kind of like strange, but I just gotta say this, get it out of my head. But like, I feel kind of insecure right now, and I'm afraid that what I'm saying isn't gonna be entertaining to you. I'm afraid that what I'm saying isn't gonna be, something that keeps your attention. I've even said that to Karen before, like in our relationship, and I found that it's super helpful. Sometimes I'll be walking down the street and I'll feel insecurity in my head, like, bro, you're not entertaining her enough. You're not gonna keep her focused. You're not gonna keep her love. She's gonna get bored of you. And then I just send her a message saying that I'm fearing that. And then, you know, it's not even about getting a response from her saying, no, babe, like, you have my attention, which she does say, and I'm very thankful for that. And yeah, it's awesome. But it's about getting it out of your head. And I think one of the reasons it's so important to get it out is because of the fear of rejection. We have a fear that if I say something that makes me seem not strong or not cool or not alpha and not manifesting the vibes because I don't admit what I want. And when you admit when you want, that means you're releasing a vibration that you don't have it. Like, yeah, all that's good and true, and it can work for sales and stuff. But like, in terms of relationship, you gotta be honest. You gotta say what is in your head. And when I say relationship, I mean when you're speaking to other people, when you're interacting with other humans in just a person to person context. It's so much better and healthier for every party involved to just be saying freely what's inside of their head and to be speaking about the things that make them insecure. Because that's the way that we build each other up. We build each other up by sharing in our insecurities, by sharing in the things that make us uncomfortable, by sharing in the Skittles, pizza, pasta, rabanasta, balabasta. And I don't know why I just threw that in there, but I felt like I was going off, and part of me wanted to break up the flow of going off a little bit and add in some randomness. But yeah, now I'm just going back to saying, literally whatever is coming out of my head. Something that I notice I do sometimes, or I do a lot of times, and I think this is really true about my life. Okay, before I explain the thing that I do a lot of times, I'm just going to say many of the things that I engage with are stream of consciousness right now, or any podcast for that matter. I don't plan it out. Sure, I'll have some idea. I don't plan it out beforehand. I just go in. When I'm painting or drawing, I don't plan it out beforehand with a sketch too much. I don't make some concept. I don't come up with some crazy story because I come up with it in the moment. That's how it goes. Whatever is in my head, I just let it flow out. That's what I do. Like if I freestyle with my friends, if I do a podcast, if I do a painting, and with my own life, yes, I do plan. Yes, I do organize. Yes, I do set up things for the future and have foresight. But a video I put up recently is about how to let go and how to give God control. Well, one of the best ways to do that is to just go with the flow. I have written on a page up on my wall, it says, The only goal is to take what God puts on my plate every single day and just steward it and maximize it and take care of it to the greatest capability. It's like, if God gives me 5 talents in one day, I'm going to make it 10. If he gives me 2, I'm going to make it 4. If he gives me 1, I'm going to make it 2,000. It's just like that. Just keep taking what's at the present moment and making it maximized. And that is the thing that I do all the time that I mentioned a few minutes ago. And that's what I'm talking about right now. Another manifestation of just doing things in the moment and letting it flow is speaking what's on your mind. Speaking what's on your mind and letting it be free. And when you speak what's on your mind and let it be free, I've used this analogy before. Think of your life and the flow of your life as a hose, a garden hose. If you're trying to water the grass so that it can grow, you're not going to squeeze the hose and constrict it so that the water can't flow. You're going to hold it, yes, firmly, and take care of where you're aiming the hose, but you're going to let the water flow. And if anything tries to constrict that flow, then you're going to remove it and you're going to allow the flow to continue. And that literally is the flow state. That's why we call it the flow state, is because you've let your hand off of the valve of always critiquing everything and squeezing it to death. You're letting things move. You're letting them arrange. You're letting the force of energy and entropy in the earth work to your advantage. It's like judo. And I'm just realizing this right now. It's like judo. What do you do when you have an opponent that weighs more than you? This idea is getting me really excited. Like, I'm excited to share this with you, and maybe you've already figured it out, but what do you do when you have an enemy that's larger than you, or a rival that's larger than you? You pin its weight against itself. You throw the opponent using their momentum. So if they're running at you with arms outstretched, trying to grab you and choke you, as they continue to run, you just grab their arms and pull them in the way that they were already going, and then you can throw an opponent that was much larger than you. That's leverage. And what are you doing when you're letting life flow? You're letting the energies that are much greater than you, entropy, the flow of time, gravity, compound interest, you're letting those things flow to your advantage. You're essentially taking a hold of them and then pulling them and yourself in the direction that they were already going, such that you can harness those forces, harness the force of time, harness the force of gravity, harness the force of energy, entropy for your advantage. Now, specifically, what do I mean by this? What I mean is, time is going to continue moving in the same direction that it's been moving for 4 billion years, which is an unfathomable amount of time. Entropy is going to keep creating change and keep creating disruption no matter what you do, because the universe always tends towards disorder. Things disintegrate. Gravity is always going to push things down and always going to cause mean reversion. Things always revert back to the average. Think about that in terms of stocks. Think about that in terms of moods. You're super angry at one moment, but then, a few minutes later, you're going to revert back to usually, some sort of base mood, which varies on the person. But how do you harness these forces for yourself? How do you get into a state of flow such that as the universe continues to move and God keeps unveiling his plan, those things work to make your life better as well? Well, first, you have to yield to the flow. Essentially, if you were in a big ocean and the tide is moving, and the tide is the forces that we're talking about, you're not going to stand up, stick your feet into the sand and say, no, I'm never going to move. Rather, what you're going to do is hop into a yacht, chill there and enjoy the view and let the beautiful tide work for you. So you do that by one, harnessing the power of compound interest. Compound interest is like turning it's like turning the 2 talents into 4, into 5, into 6, the biblical story. As time moves forward, you work on small things every single day that are in the same direction. So every single day, you just add one more piece to the puzzle. You add one more piece to the same thing, which is what I'm doing for the large gallery that I'm moving forward towards. 6,000 square feet, 2 floors, 15 artists, stepping back, letting God tell his story of creation. That's a huge plan, and that's not even my final plan. But how am I going to do that? I can't do that all at once. I have to do it by just putting small pieces together and adding on to what I did yesterday. And as you add on to what you did yesterday, you're adding more. Now let me explain. It's a very simple mathematical formula. You have $1, you gain 10% interest on it. That gives you $1.10. But then next time you gain 10% interest, you're not gaining 10 cents. You're gaining 10% of $1.10, which is 11 cents, I think. Could be wrong. But that means it's now $1.21 instead of $1.20. You see? Each time you add on to what you had before, you're getting more. You're starting to gain leverage. So by me just taking what God's putting on my plate, a small piece, and working on that gallery, I am now gaining more than what I had before towards that gallery, which is eventually going to lead to something that is massive, something that is huge, something that is God's plan for my life as I step into the purpose that he has given me as a king. I am worked up, y'all. I had some coffee too, so maybe that's helping me get into the mood. But I'm not even done with 1 cup. I'm like 30% done with 1 cup. I think honestly it's just passion right now, because I'm really thinking about how important it is to work and live in flow. And when you work and live in flow, things work for you much more than you ever could have done if you were trying to control the flow yourself. You just have to yield to the flow that's already there, and that is massive, and leads you forward. So, that's the first explanation of how to do it with compound interest, and that is harnessing the flow of time to your advantage. Now, how can you harness the flow of entropy, change, to your advantage? That's a bit less straightforward, but a very, I would say, simple, not easy explanation. And my father was talking to me about this yesterday. I've been running into some snags with some plans that I have for future events. They're not happening and materializing, and I'm facing some blocks in the road. Some changes that I wasn't foreseeing. Some changes to plans that I had. Change is always going to happen. Change can be good or bad. It's like mutations, right? Mutations can be good or bad. Most mutations in terms of evolution tend to be not good mutations. However, sometimes there are good mutations. But in terms of change mutations, just random things happening, I would say many times they are good. Yes, there are some that are bad. And to address the bad ones first, and to sort of help entropy and flow and change work for you, you need to be able to adapt. You need to be an adaptive system. As things change, your plans must also. And what this means is you don't set things in the sand, right? If the foundation is the earth, we know that the earth is always moving, always shifting, and therefore it's a foundation of sand. So you don't want to put something deep in there and just go if the foundation is simply the circumstances of the earth, because the circumstances of the earth are always changing. So you need to have
pieces in your plan that allow for changes of variables. You need to have provisions that allow you to move forward even if the circumstances on earth change. So here's an example of that. I was planning to have the show January 15th, but now we have this new Omicron type thing. So what I do is add a COVID provision to the contracts that I'm sending out to the artists. The contract provision is, yes, we want to have the show January 15th, but there is a large likelihood that we may have to push the date forward to February 15th. So instead of trying to squish and squeeze the event to happen on the 15th, simply add a provision that says, hey, keep your exhibition fee in the pool and you keep your spot for the event, because it's still going to happen. It might just be pushed forward by a month. And if you want to take your money out, that's fine too, but that means you go on the waiting list for the exhibition. Simple. And that is essentially adding a change or an adaptation for entropy that is a disadvantageous mutation. Now, what do we do for the advantageous mutations? Well, this means leaving yourself open to luck. You have to prepare for luck at all times. Now, luck, God's providence, coincidence, whatever you want to call it, for me, it's God. Everything is God. Love is God. Truth is God. Life is God breathing into us. And luck is when opportunity meets preparation. That's a straight quote from Nipsey Hussle, one of my favorite rappers of all time. You guys, Blue Laces, That's How I Knew, Double Up, such good songs, such pure motivation in there. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, man. True motivational guy. But luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So you're preparing every single day. Once again, this gets back to taking whatever is on your plate and maximizing it every single day. That puts you in a position such that when an opportunity meets you, you're prepared. You're prepared because you've already been working on it. So when I say preparing yourself for luck, preparing yourself for positive entropy, preparing yourself for change and mutation that comes that is good, you need to have preparation meeting opportunity. So now we've spoken about how to make time work for you, how to make change work for you. How can you make gravity work for you? How can you make mean reversion work for you? Well, I think about this in terms of two prongs. The first prong is a mean implies some sort of graph, a function, movement from point 1 on the x-axis to point N on the x-axis, right? This is movement across time. That is a function. And that function will have vicissitudes. It will go up, it will go down. But it will tend to revert to the line of the mean. Now, one thing about this is life represents this movement on the x-axis from 1 to 5 with vicissitudes around the mean, but general reversion to it. Now, how does that play out? Some days we feel really good. Other days we feel pretty lackluster. But most days we tend to feel generally, somewhere around average. So when we're feeling great, we're doing awesome stuff. When we're feeling bad or unfocused, like me today, we tend to essentially let ourselves fall to those hard pushes of gravity trying to push us down below the mean, right? That's when we're feeling unfocused and whatnot. But we can push against that because mean reversion also means that things tend to move back upward when they are below the mean. So we can essentially harness that force of moving back towards the average by pushing when we feel down. One caveat is when you're in a bad mood, it is important to take a look at that bad mood. You don't want to run away from negative feelings and try to feel good again and pace them over, because that means you are ignoring something that is much deeper. So it is very important to dig deep paths into your own brain and understand who you are, because that is beauty and that is truth and that is how you become who you are. But you can also harness an unfocused mind. You can harness a lazy attitude to push back up towards the mean. You can use the momentum that life brings and that gravity brings and that mean reversion brings by trying to get yourself back into focus, because you will get there. And that is the first prong of making mean reversion work for you. The second way that you can make gravity work for you is by increasing the slope of the function, which is your life. Now, what I mean by that is the function we have of our life can go upwards with a positive slope, sideways with a slope of 0, or downward with a slope of -1. Either way, we're going to revert to that mean. So if we have a positive slope, that means we are continually making our life, our process of living, our self-growth, our character growth, we're improving it. That means we have a positive slope in our life. We're moving up towards the goal. And the goal is spreading the great news of the Lord Jesus with our personal gifts. And that means the goal is spending time every day doing what our passion is, allowing God to speak into that passion, and then sharing it with the world. That's the most beautiful thing and the most beautiful goal, because that means all of our needs are going to be met. But to get back to the point here, we can make gravity and mean reversion work to us by giving our lives a positive slope, because that means every time we have great moments and we're feeling amazing, when the slope is moving upwards, those great moments are going to keep getting higher and higher and better. And that also means that our low moments, when we're feeling unfocused, when we're feeling down, when we're feeling downtrodden, those moments are also going to keep getting better. And eventually we'll get to a place in our lives where our low moments are higher than our average moments used to be. And by higher, I mean we're not falling down to vices. We're not spending weeks depressed, weeks with anxiety, as I've done many times in my life. We're not spending as much time down in the dumps, because we've already worked through those things. We've come to understand that life is beautiful and it is a blessing. And thus, our moments of difficulty become shorter and less amplitude. I'm not saying they go away, and we don't want them to go away, because we need to have a balance always of both sides. We need to always pay attention to the negativity that is in our brain, because something is causing it, and that's the fallen world. So we need to make sure that we're not trying to push out all negativity, because that is a lie. We are in the world, and there always will be some of that. However, if we push upwards with a positive slope in our lives, our great moments will become greater, and our down moments will become less in length. They will become less in hitting rock bottom. We won't hit rock bottom anymore. And that's a beautiful thing. And that is the second prong in the way to make gravity and mean reversion work for you. How can you make it work for you? So what we've spoken about today is how to let flow, how to let the flow of the world, the forces that are much bigger than us, work for us. And that is through compound interest in time. That is by letting change work for you, by having adaptive, I was going to say adaptivity, I don't know if that's a word, but by having adaptive plans. And third, by harnessing mean reversion and a positive slope and allowing gravity to push us upward rather than keep us down. And the reason I was speaking about that, just to, round it back to the beginning, is because I was talking about flow, and I was talking about how I say things in the present moment. I say whatever is coming out of my mind. And, this whole thing that we've been talking about in the past moments, that just came from me hitting the flow state, because God is so good, and I've been working out of letting things flow from my head for such a long time, just saying whatever is on my mind. And that's a beautiful thing. I feel really great right now, I gotta say. I hope you guys are feeling me as well. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are and stuff on this, because I really want to just share how beautiful it is when you let go and you let God lead, because he does amazing things. And this is a testament even to my older videos of me just trying to control. But yeah, I gotta say, earlier in the podcast, right, I was telling you guys how I was insecure and nervous that I might not have important things to talk to you guys about today. But I said, we're gonna find something. And as we kept going, we did find something, and I found gold, and I found new ideas that I've never even thought of before. So I'm really thankful for all that. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Do it with me. Praise that. Praise the Lord. Hey, if we got it, then we want it. I'm all saying, we got it. If you want it, then we got. That is the Ayuka show, y'all. No trivia today because we went popping off, but trivia is gonna come back soon. Don't you worry about it. But yeah, I wish y'all a blessed day. May God give you beautiful opportunities during the day that you can see. And I'm praying for health for every single one of y'all. Amen.